is up, YouTube? It is your boy Gartrell back with No Lift Garage for another video. Today we're going to be installing a Turner Motorsports catch can. So I'm chilling here with my boy Chris. Make sure that if you haven't followed him on his social media, you got him on Instagram right there. Check out his YouTube page right there, and we'll definitely be noting him at the end of this video. But he's just gonna chill with me. I'm gonna take this bad boy apart, install this new catch can, which for any turbo car user, you should be having one. Even on some naturally aspirated applications, this is a great upgrade. It's very small, very, versatile. A lot of different options for a lot of different cars. This one is specifically for BMW. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna be installing it today. So there's only actually a couple things that we have to take apart. It's very simple. So you gotta take off the strut brace, as per usual with almost anything you wanna do with this car. The top valence panels, I've shown you how to take that apart more than a few times. Just a 10mm, twist it in one direction, and they all just pop out. And the 13mm bolts that hold it in, there's 3 up here, there's one here, 3 more up there in the same spot, and one 10mm bolt right here holding onto the coolant reservoir. So taking that out, after that we're going to be taking off the airbox, and then we'll be taking off the engine cover as well, just to be able to access the hose that we need to use. The car is a little warm, so I'm going to let it cool down for a little bit, and then we'll actually take off the hose and everything that we need to do to get to putting in this catch can. Alright, so 10mm, don't even need a wrench or anything. You just put the key on top, like so, and you twist, and there's 3 on this side, twist. This whole thing just lifts right out. Very simple. Gonna repeat on the other side. So just twist. Thing just pops right out and straight into the side. Okay. Next up, we got a 13mm 3/8 and extension. Doesn't matter what drive you use, as long as it's a 13. I'm trying a new thing out, guys. I want to do it more like me actually filming and working instead of me like setting you up on a tripod. So I hope you like this angle better. Hopefully you do. It gets you a little bit more closer into the, so to speak, action. Tell me this one is stripped. I gunned these down, so I might have to actually use a gun to take them off. Sorry for the wind. Again, just the 10, 3, 13, 3 13s over there, and then the 2 up in the front that I already loosened. So when I come back, this whole brace will be out. Alright, so we removed all the bolts, so literally, watch what happens. Ooh, just lifts right out. Huzzah! And then Christian's gonna take that from me. Thank you, bro. Alright, next thing up, very simple. Mine is only like this because, I don't know why, but this wire just sits over my bracket for the box, so I have to take these 2 10mm off, as I've shown you many times before. So these 2 10s, and we got a flathead screwdriver that holds on the airbox, so we'll be taking that off as well and disconnecting the map sensor, and we're just going to pull up on this right now, take that off, set it to the side. So we're going to be, this is the hose we're going to be working with, by the way. So once we take this out, we'll have access to the part down there. If you can see, it's kind of hard to see. Once I take it out, you'll be able to see. But that part down there, we're going to be working with that hose, and we'll be removing these 2 via Torx bits. Come on. There we go. That's the worst clip in the world. Set that to the side. Gently. Don't let it break. Next, ratchet wrenches are the best. If you need them in some tight spaces. Go. And then we can just do it by hand from there. Careful not to drop the actual nut, because that would be a pain in the butt to go find.
It would fall into the abyss of the BMW.
Yep, and then you gotta jack it up, take off the belly pan, whole lot of extra nonsense. And for what? Because you didn't hold on to the nut?
LOL, insert me.
That's what she said. Set it aside. And then we need a flathead screwdriver. Now I've done this many times, so if you're new, I can understand it might be a little, wait, rewind that. But trust me, it's very, very simple. If you've worked on cars at all, it's actually a very easy process to get to where we need to work on today. So just gonna take this, loosen it. From there, just gonna make sure everything is disconnected properly. Pull back on this, and then your airbox will literally just pop right out. Now I told you I had like some wire blocking it. This is what I mean. It's kind of just like above this piece, so I always have to disconnect it in order to take out the airbox. The actual thing we're going to be working with today is this hose right here. This is going to be what effectively makes up your catch can. Yeah, so we're just gonna have to push this apart, I believe, quite literally, and this should come off. All right, so Christian helped me get this off. So we actually just used the flathead screwdriver, and we kind of just gently went in between the teeth there.
Right on, hold on, this edge, right. Just pry it out and pull with your other hand. It literally pops off. All you gotta do is kind of lift this gently.
Yep. So it might be beneficial to have more than 2 hands at that time, so if you have someone to help you, it'd be great. You can see there's a little bit of oil residue on the edge, and you can especially see it in here. You see, there's oil in there. Yep. So now, this is actually connected to your intake quite literally. So that means that there is oil going, yes, there is blow by, and there is oil getting into the intake system, meaning that this is very slightly burning a little bit of oil. So for all intents and purposes, to explain to you what a catch can does, and I'll show you what it is actually, because that's the next part. We have an in system and an out system. The in system is gonna go from the top of the engine, which is the crankcase blow by that it's taking in, and the air and the oil. The oil and air are gonna go into here. The air is gonna be able to escape. However, the oil is gonna get trapped in this catch can, hence the word catch can. And basically the air is going to go in with the oil. It's going to catch the oil, but the air is going to be able to escape through this out hole and get back into the actual intake. So now the next part is a little bit tricky because there is a plug down here as well as a bolt that holds this in place. So it's a Torx bit. It looks like a very small Torx bit. I can't really see. And then there's a plug here that we have to also unplug. So I'm going to reach down there and try to actually disconnect it. All right, so pretty much all we had to do, we again showed you how to take this one out. So now this is the harder one to get at, realistically. The light down there, there's a plug.
Yeah, it's the little yellow thing right there that my finger's pointing at.
Right, there's a tab above that. All you have to do is use a small flathead or a pick tool to push up on that, and then it will release this one. So now that we have this piece out, I'm going to show you how to actually assemble your catch can. And you are going to need a heat gun so to separate this, because what we're using is actually this piece on the end and this piece on the end. This hose will no longer be used, but we're going to use a heat gun. We're going to separate them, and then we're going to show you how to actually assemble your catch can. All right, so we're going to use the heat gun. This thing is pretty strong, so don't burn yourself. And I'm just going to add heat.
Rotate it a little bit. Do it.
And this thing is pretty hot, so I would recommend, in hindsight, putting on like some protective gloves because I can still feel the heat from here. Let's see.
Boom!
Just like
Easy peasy.
Same thing on the other side. Pull back. Get it nice and close and rotate it. All right, let's try it now. Ooh, that's hot. Woo. Very hot, like shit.
Woo. You can let it cool off and then switch.
Just be careful. He has on 2 gloves and his is, yep, a little force. Feel the heat?
Not yet.
1 eternity later.
3, 2, boom, baby. All that just for this.
Yeah.
Now, you can basically toss that.
Yep.
Because we only need these 2 things.
Now I'm going to show you how to actually use these 2 to set up your new system. So to set up your catch can, first things first, the Turner Motorsports kit comes with the actual catch can and the bracket that's going to be mounting to our actual engine bay right here. If you can see that, there's 2 Torx bits that we're going to take out, and this is going to mount to those. So to actually set it up, you're going to take apart your catch can. We've already done this by unscrewing it. I'm not gonna do it over again, but that's exactly what you do. You unscrew it into 2 pieces, put the bracket here, and tighten it up.
I also recommend putting thread sealer on that just to be safe, considering that oil does flow or have to go in there.
Yeah, we already put our thread sealer on, so yeah, we're just gonna show you how to put the rest of it on. So ECS, well, Turner Motorsports sends you some ECS tuning bones that you're actually gonna screw into your catch can. You're gonna use thread sealer on these, and you're gonna simply insert them into each side there. So I'll show you how to do that now. You don't have to use a lot, just a drop. Not to sneeze.
Watermelon.
What?
I don't know. Apparently somebody God bless you. Apparently somebody said that if you say watermelon a bunch of times before you're about to sneeze, you stop sneezing. I guess it's because it takes your focus away from actually sneezing. I don't know.
A little bit of thread. Screw it in a little bit. So you're gonna want to tighten these. I actually did it a little bit backwards, but we can just use a wrench. So I'm tightening it now. We didn't have the right size wrench. It's like a 19, so you want to have a 19 millimeter wrench. We have the tightest we have is 17. So just
you can use a vice grip, you can use an adjustable wrench.
Yeah, and I'm not really
deep socket.
I'm not really too worried about this thing getting like scuffed up or anything realistically, because it's gonna get messed up regardless. But if you have your nice tools and you can use them, make sure you do, because
and if you did want to protect it for whatever reason, you could just literally put a towel around the vice grip.
Yeah,
that'll do enough.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried, so just tightening it up there. You want to have a nice tight seal. You don't want oil leaking or any air leaks either. This has to be somewhat pressurized system, so having these tight and thread sealed is important. The next thing we're going to do, because this actually comes with a quick drain system. So for a lot of catch cans, you actually have the option to have one that you actually have to take apart to clean out, or you use like a siphon pump, which you would put inside and then siphon out the oil. It's an extra step. This actually comes with one where you literally turn this little red valve on this wire, or this hose I should say, and it will literally drain the oil straight out of the bottom. So I like that option. It makes it easier for me when doing oil changes. So I'm gonna use the supplied Allen head to take this out, and then we're gonna add one of these gold tip ones and thread seal that as well. All right, so real quick, so I put in the straight down, they give you an option, the angled or straight for the quick drain. So we're gonna actually have to cut that, put this piece in between that, and then put the other cut piece onto the end. So now you have a valve that literally you can twist and open or close so that the oil will drain out quickly. Second of all, something that we came into, so the hoses they give us are a little bit different. This size looks too big, so like if Chris were to put this in, it just seems like it falls in and it doesn't sit tight. But using the actual hose clamp, as you see he's tightening it there, it actually holds it in place very well. So don't cut your
yeah, don't be nervous. I actually looked at it like this is not the right size, but it squeezes it to the actual circumference of the inside of this piece, and you can see I didn't even tighten it all the way and it's not coming out.
Possibly have to cut because we've already just kind of like sized it up by eye, and we could tell that this is too long and it'll be like out of the way. So it actually goes into this side like that.
Yep.
But when it's mounted in the car, it doesn't it'll bend this too much. It'll bend this piece too much.
Alright guys, so we got the hose on the actual bottom of the catch can already, which you can see right here. We routed it through the subframe of the car.
This is routed through the subframe. You see the light up there. We cut it, put the hose clamp on, put the drain on, and with the excess amount of the hose that we have here, we're going to put just a small tip on the end for the drain. From there, we're just going to zip tie it to one of these suspension pieces, probably the sway bar, because it doesn't come into contact with anything realistically.
You want to put it on something that
doesn't move very often. If it does, it just flexes. But that'll be pretty much it. Then we'll bolt everything in on the top end and finish this up.
And we zip tied it to the actual sway bar. So now when I go to do an oil change, all I do is twist that red knob, and all the oil that the catch can catches will just pour right out.
So we took the 2 bolts out holding in this bracket. And we're really just tightening them down. with the actual bracket piece on there. So now we're going to be able to mock up the actual hoses as we were showing you earlier. Alright, so we have to put this on. However, we've already mocked up the top part, as you can see, and the hose clamps for this one are too small. So we have to go to the store, find hose clamps, and come back and finish the job.
Alright guys, so we just got back from the auto parts store. Ended up picking up a box with hose clamps that looks like this. So we already went ahead and cut both of these so that there's not too much tension on either one of these pieces. Same for this, and we also put the sensor back in down here. Bartolo's tightening this hose clamp that you see. One subtle thing that just makes life in general easier: always put your hose clamps facing a direction that makes it easier for you to access them. Don't face them down or any kind of crazy angle, just like he has it on the intercooler piping.
So this is the catch can finally installed. So you see we have the Turner Motorsports bracket here. It just mounts to the actual front bracket. And then this is the in part. This is coming off of the pressure that's coming from the blow-by into the baffled side. And then you'll get your deposits of oil left in here. It'll exit back into the intake side down there. It's going to be hard to see, but you see it plugged in down there and tightened. So that one was kind of hard to get out, but don't worry about that. Everything's back together. And this is how it sits. Nice and sturdy. It's not going to rock. It's not going to move.
It's gonna be in there.
Now, I was told that when I put back on the strut brace, that the brace might be in the way for this dipstick. So if you see, Turner Motorsports comes with a dipstick that you could literally unscrew. And if this is covered in oil, you know how much oil is in here and if you need to drain it. But I'll show you after we put the actual brace back on. Alright. Everything looks put back together. So this is what I was talking about. If I try to unscrew this, I can't lift it all the way up because it actually runs into the carbon fiber strut brace. So I think the only thing that would work maybe is if I was to unscrew this, unscrew that, and unscrew the 10mm bolt on the coolant reservoir. Then I would be able to possibly like pry this up very gently as to not break it, but you know, enough where I could lift it up and possibly just remove this and kind of like tilt it out. But I'll check when I'll update you guys pretty much on that when it's time to do an oil change. Thank you for watching. From Gartrell here at No Lift Garage. Peace out. My boy Chris is right here up in the top left somewhere on the screen. Make sure you subscribe to Christian Galarza's page on YouTube, and he also has Christian_Z33 for his IG. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys keep staying motivated. Peace out. See you in the next one.